Warning: this program may contain explicit language that may be considered offensive or inappropriate to children and some adults.
The following content is intended for mature audiences only.
Howdy! What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Talk It Out, episode 49. My name is DanDre, and today I will be your host. We're going to miss Duryea, but here I am, and I'm so excited because today's episode is Married to a Manipulator. So, welcome to Talk It Out, a place where people of opposing views can get together and have healthy and productive dialogue in a respectful way. Keeping in mind that it's not always about proving who's right and who's wrong. Sometimes it's simply about listening and being heard. So to start off, I want to introduce some of our returning panelists. First off, we have Connor Smith. Howdy, Connor.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm splendid. First time. So I got to make sure this goes right, you know?
Oh, I think I'm great.
So, a brief little bio for Connor. Connor is 27 and currently living in Atlanta, Georgia. He's pursuing a degree in biology at Emory. Next up, we have another returning panelist, one of my favorites, Mo Smith. Howdy.
Hey, boo. How you doing?
You know, I'm drinking my protein shake, enjoying the day.
I hear you. So let me go ahead and say this because Duryea is going to be furious. Otherwise, it's not stated. Oh, get out! I hope you got that because I'm steady like lagging a little bit, but we're gonna work it out. But anyway, let me give my real quick opening statement. Also, people that we're talking about manipulators, and we know that hurt people. So, well, let's not forget, more than likely, those manipulators were probably already hurt themselves. And, I've been hurt, but I also want to apologize to anyone that has been hurt by me. So
That's
that's
so
all.
sincere.
But I felt that in my spirit while I was backstage. And also, on a light note, Connor, I'm loving that mustache. Please keep it.
Just get some cargo shorts and start barbecuing, man.
Oh no,
I
I'm
mean,
actually I'm about
and
to have
the
a daughter, so I figured I'd just complete the look throughout the
oh,
month.
dad bod complete. I love it.
Congratulations.
Yes. All
Thank
right.
you.
So, a little brief bio for Mo Smith, a critical thinker that's too conservative to be liberal and too liberal to be a conservative. Check out their social media at Mo Smith Pro. And donations are always welcome at Cash App Mo Smith Pro. I like money too.
Yes. And, let me not forget. Since this is also being recorded as a podcast, that is MOESMITH P as in Paul RO. All donations are accepted. Any amount.
Alrighty, so now to introduce some of our new panelists. First up, we have Hannah Vong Savong. Did I say that correctly?
Hi.
I hope I said
Yes.
that correctly.
Bon
Yes.
savant. Yeah.
Great. Alrighty, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Alrighty. So to start off, Hannah Von Savong is a mother of two girls and has been married to what? And has been married to a recurring Talk It Out panelist, PJ Von Savong, for almost 19 years. Oh my gosh, that is amazing! Congratulations! And in that time has been a stay-at-home mom, non-traditional college student, earning her BA in communication at Columbus State University, a freelance creator, social media manager, overzealous volunteer, and realtor. You are out there, philanthropist. I feel it.
Why the gray hair?
And according to Hannah, this is why her gray hair has.
Yeah.
She currently resides in Georgia, and where she has lived most of her life. Oh my gosh, this is such an interesting panel. I'm ready. I'm so ready. Next up, we have the lovely Monique Witherspoon.
Oh, I love that you called me lovely.
Of course. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you? I'm feeling as good as your fro is looking.
Yeah.
Yes,
It takes a lot of work.
I know.
So,
I know. Trust me.
small little bio about our lovely friend Monique. Monique is from New Orleans, Louisiana, and has been
Yes.
lucky enough to be thanked by Beyonce. Girl, what did you do?
Yes. I mean, there are a couple things. So I worked at a hotel that she once visited one time, and it was like, of course, it was a transactional exchange. But what I am talking about is she officially thanked the Beehive at one of an award show. Of course, one of the many award shows that she was at, and I am a part of the Beehive, so I consider that a personal thanks. And there it is. There you go.
Oh, okay. And then next we have Lamar Berry. How are you doing, Lamar?
Good. How are you today?
Oh, I'm splendid.
How's everyone today?
Fabulous.
I
Good,
really
good.
love that art piece behind you.
Oh yeah,
I'm definitely jealous.
a little dark art.
Small little bio about our friend Lamar. Lamar is a 46-year-old professional cook, husband, and father that enjoys long walks to the refrigerator, cold beer, and hot takes. Long walks to the
that's
refrigerator.
right.
I should add that to my bio. I should definitely add that.
Man, okay.
Now, last but certainly not least, one of our co-hosts of Geeking Out itself, we have our lovely friend Ricky Z.
I'm actually not on the show today because we have 6 people. So
Oh, it's steady?
yeah,
Oh,
we're
you
good.
just made it out.
No, that's okay. It's good. So no, you're doing good. You don't need me. Y'all don't need me. So I'm going to go backstage and do what I do backstage. So good show, guys. Good job.
Shall we?
Now,
I just
now
want to give her
Destiny, I'm,
props.
I'm in my feelings. She hasn't said hi to me. I'm just letting you know that. that was for you, Destiny. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I thought she did say that.
I can't
thought I
see the
did
comments,
say
so
hello,
I
Mo,
can't see the
like,
comments.
M-O. I
I
thought
can't
she
see the
did
comments.
say that.
That was Ricky being shady. It's all right though. I thought we was on the same accord, Ricky.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so at this point, guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll come right back with current events.
Yeah, that's why I didn't get to watch the movie, because I went to watch it today and they took it off HBO Max.
What is that about?
It's crazy because you know what's funny? The universe is teasing me because I got HBO Max specifically to watch Wonder Woman 84. Specifically to watch Wonder Woman 84. And then when I finally sat down to watch it, it wasn't on HBO Max. So today when I go to see whether Mortal Kombat is on there, Mortal Kombat is not there, but guess what's now back on HBO?
I was about to say, because it's on there.
Now Wonder Woman 84. The universe is like...
We are here today on site at one of our projects. I'm a developer and entrepreneur in real estate. And what excites me most is seeing the properties come from the ground up. You know, in development, you have to grade the ground first, you have to pour the footers, and make sure that you're building on the solid foundation. That is very important because you want to make sure that your structure can be supported by the foundation that you're laying. That's the same thing that happens in life. You want to make sure that you're starting with a solid foundation in education. That's why we host our educational services, to make sure that you are going in the right direction to learn, to build, and so that you can grow too your real estate portfolio. All of these things and more, we provide resources at itchjessicamyers.com.
Alrighty. So first I just wanted to do a quick little shout out because the first commercial was for the Geeking Out podcast. It's every other Monday. This passing Monday we just did one on the Mortal Kombat movie of 2021. It was a film. If you want to see our thoughts on that
Wow.
one, go and check it out.
Wasn't that?
Teasers, I love it. That was a teaser to make you go watch
It was a film.
Geek Out.
Oh gosh. And
It
then
was a film.
followed up is the little building project that's going on. I actually don't know so much about that one.
New construction everywhere. My husband and I are in real estate. It's been backed up forever. So yeah, I'm sure people are trying to throw up some houses right now.
Oh, it's a major, interesting market right now. That's for sure.
Oh my God, it's insane. I mean, we worked through the recession, and this is crazier.
Even in the littlest bit, like I live in Toronto. Real estate here is expensive, like New York City. So like, even with COVID, things have dropped, but it's not like affordable. So
No,
I'm willing
you
to
in
like
Vancouver
relocate.
are the worst.
Oh, I don't want to know. That's West Coast.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Alrighty,
Isn't it
so
a
let's
seller's market currently?
Yeah. I mean, if you put anything on the market, it is gone.
Well, let's just get started with our current events. I brought my little notepad. Oh, we're missing Mo. But to start us off, the first current event I wanted to talk about was the Georgia abortion ban. It's going back into debate. And I mean, when it was first instated, they did was they were trying to ban out people from, getting abortion after a doctor was able to detect the about 6 week fetal heartbeat. So then any removal of the fetus would have to happen prior. But also because a lot of Americans would end up going to states where it was like more lenient. So people from out of state were coming into Georgia to come get like their abortion done. So that's currently going back in debate. They want to kind of remove the law. I was wondering what your guys' current thoughts are on that.
I guess I'll say the best meme that I've seen going around is 6 weeks pregnant is 2 weeks late on your period. That's it. And so when you look at it from that perspective, that's an incredibly small window and barely any detectable cells. I mean, most women don't find out they are pregnant until 8 weeks.
Exactly. 'Cause I mean, I don't think morning sickness isn't even a symptom for a while.
Yeah. I can't remember when I got mine.
You don't know. You literally don't know until like that 6 week, 7 week mark. So
Right.
to make the deadline 6 weeks, I'm still at why are we letting old white men make decisions about women's bodies?
Women.
But hey,
Women.
Well, and there's so many medical conditions. Women's bodies are so susceptible to change and interruption from the environment. So you can miss an entire month or 2 or 3 of menstrual cycles and not be pregnant. Of course, with some of these laws that I see going up right now, you'd be in trouble anyway. They're looking for proof in ways that are very intrusive.
See, and I feel like it's completely out of the ordinary, like completely out of the whack. Because I mean, just like let's say an STD, you could take precautions like taking Plan B afterward, or you could be on birth control before. You could wear a condom, and like you could still get pregnant with all of that. So I mean, it's not fair at all for anybody to tell women what they can do.
Well, and some of these states are considering Plan B an abortive and are not allowing them to take that as well.
Oh God, I'm so happy to live in Canada. This is wild.
Yeah.
Oh, that is. Let's ban
And
male
even past that,
masturbation. Oh my gosh. Well.
Even past that, there's medical conditions that can lead to doctors adjusting abortion even when it wasn't planned. Like I know me and my partner currently suffered a miscarriage, where it was a miscarriage where it didn't. Thank you, but like we ended up having to get an abortion like 12 weeks in. Under this Georgia law, that would technically be illegal. And there's actually been other countries that have suffered issues similar to that. There was the Irish. It was in Ireland. There was an abortion referendum because a woman suffered a miscarriage, doctors would remove it because it was technically illegal, and she ended up developing sepsis and dying. And it caused like this giant overhaul in Ireland. Interesting that like repeating itself and that now is the
Okay. I can definitely like echo off of that because I mean I have a friend who is currently starting a medical business to help like people get like easy access to drugs like Plan B, let's say PrEP and stuff like that. And all it was like an online survey you would pretty much enter into, and then you would pretty much be able to go through this like what's the word assessment. So then you could finally like get that and it'll just be shipped off to you, no middleman. Because like what happened is there's many times, or I've even had friends where like doctors have been really biased and not like written prescriptions for things like that. Like they wouldn't allow like a 16-year-old girl to get Plan B, and like her circumstances were she was like forced upon or something like that. Like it's not fair like at all. I don't think there should be a deciding factor in between. I think that one sole person who is affecting should have the right at all costs. Personally have always been about pro-choice. Like, it doesn't make any sense not to me.
Here's my thing about it is, it's interesting how the party of small government and small government basically with light regulations is trying to regulate a woman's body like they're a commodity. I just find that so ironic. And I'm having a little issues. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I still hear the echo, so that's kind of power through. Anyway, the point of it is that it's another example of the hypocrisy, particularly coming from the right with the Republican Party. They basically put this law where it's taking the authority out of the doctor's hands and that person's hands, maintain an agenda of fundamentalist Christians where they feel that, oh, you shouldn't do abortion at all. However, when that baby is born, nobody wants to take care of it.
And can you get charged for something? You can get charged for those type of things too. And I mean, if a girl's still in school and she doesn't have the money to pay for like a babysitter or something like that, like what can she really do? She's gonna drop out of school and then jeopardize her own life.
There's virtually no support system at all for women who are in the highest risk category. None at all. They don't want you to adopt them out. They don't want you to give them to other parents. They don't want to help you financially or with childcare, mental health, none of it. So, I mean, really, I mean, I was so blessed to have my kids in a positive environment with a supporting spouse, but we still it's hard. It's the hardest job I've ever had in my life, and I'm still doing it. I've got an 18-year-old and a 14-year-old, so it's not like, you just get over it in a couple of years. It's a lifetime commitment. And then at every point along the way, they can call defects or, put you in jail over issues that your child faces or charge you with negligence. It's incredibly stacked against women.
Man, that's
I
really
just
rough. I
wanted to
mean,
I
share.
know.
I didn't want to step on anyone's toes, but I wanted to share just 2 points that I feel about this particular issue. One being which I don't want to hear from men reproductive rights, and two, I don't want to hear from anyone that's pro-birth. Point that Mo touched on. Uh, that's why I was actually mostly quiet about the whole thing because it's not my place. I'm only responsible for the one person I'm with, and I don't need to make a decision on any other woman. That's not a part of my life. So that's what I'm gonna say. I'm leaving the floor to you.
Connor, were you gonna say something?
It's going to available states. A lot of people abortion like Ron or if you're interested in force you to see the data, hear you find John Oliver and it's interesting both from essentially people
Hey, babe.
choice are saying that this is the one place to people who are same thing, not feeders, saying that in part on the feed. I disagree. I don't think that there's it's interesting because I think arguing for
Sorry, Connor.
which
The reception here is really bad. Like I'm not getting everything you're saying at all. It's like going in and out.
I hold it close on my pores. Try to change.
But anybody ever have any other points they want to add to this?
Go vote.
What?
Go.
use your rights.
Did you say go vote?
Yes.
Yes, please go vote. It's important.
And don't abandon Georgia. We've grown so much. We need people here that will continue to vote.
Is this a bill that you can see happening across the country in other states?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what they do.
Okay.
Dispatch.
Pennsylvania has one right now, I think, and Arizona also. I'm a bit fuzzy on how many of them are out there.
That's the Republican playbook, basically. They tried in one state and they literally copy paste and try to implement it in other red states.
Okay, so we hit them with the midterm elections. We attack them there. We just can't wait,
Well, and you got to
cycles.
remember that they just changed all those voting rules too, though.
So we
Yeah.
obviously have to beat them at their own game.
Yes, we do, but
We have to
unfortunately,
register voters and we have to get people out to vote.
I mean, absolutely, but unfortunately, the Democratic Party has been doing such a sorry job of things. It's going to be a tough run when it comes to the midterms, especially particularly with Joe Biden stating that he was no longer going to have the what is it called, the student loan forgiveness
No
as a
loan.
part of his agenda. Yeah. So how do you expect people to come out when you're already breaking campaign promises?
Yeah, that's you're right. Can't argue that, Mo.
I think it's
we have to energize people to vote and want change.
It's kind of scary.
Right.
I mean, as time goes on, we're in 2021 now. We think we're moving forward sometimes, and then you'll have the same people in power who've been in power or like been in politics for like a long period of time. They're still calling the shots. They're still making those decisions in somebody's ear, and like we're not getting enough change.
We are.
Yeah, I understand that. We aren't. No, it takes time, patience,
It feels
diligence.
like too
Eventually,
much
we'll get
time.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really put a time frame on it. Like you don't know when we're gonna finally get these new ideas in permanently at all. So it's so. I mean, maybe in the next 100 years, but we don't have that long. We're trying to live today.
Yeah. I'm surprised no one
Is my audio
actually.
better?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That's awesome. I switched. Thanks. I didn't want to have to break out the whole like aviator headset, but whatever.
Did you want to actually finish up your comment from earlier, Connor, before we move forward?
Oh, sure. I was just saying how it's interesting that this is one of the only topics I feel like both sides are talking from the same moral stance, whereas pro-choice is speaking, and I personally am pro-choice, is speaking like we can't infringe on the rights of these women who are pregnant, whereas pro-life is saying we can't infringe on the rights of this future person. And I feel like a lot of political topics are very clear differently in this moral stance of like I am fighting for this, whereas this particular issue both sides are arguing for the same thing. It's just a question of like, is that fetus, does that fetus have the same rights as a fully living person? It's just an interesting topic that
Well,
unfortunately we have to tread on eggshells when we talk about it normally.
Yeah.
I think the problem that I have with that though is that they do only protect the birth, the life, and they don't extend healthcare. Both of my children were surprises, and both of my children were labeled pre-existing conditions. So people, whatever, no, it's no better than a thyroid problem or a car accident. They would not cover that child. I paid out of pocket for 2 C-sections. Yes, I saw your eyes, Mo. It was not. I could have bought a car for
Two of them.
cheaper. Yeah, and so there was no extended coverage for me. If I hadn't wanted that child, you know, that's one thing. But to tell me that I have to have it and offer no care, no medical visits, no doctors, no anything, that's where they leave you. I've seen the worst of the medical system. They don't want to take care of anybody.
And
No, I
Trying to get
completely
paid.
agree.
we definitely like, I think I saw a meme recently where it was like, God gave us everything we needed and we created money and capitalism. And when I think about it, I'm like, I mean, yes, I live in Canada and I got free healthcare. That's swell. But then like
Rub it
the
in.
idea that like you guys, let's say, have an accident or you're giving birth or something like that, and it's like you're shelling out thousands out of pocket, and shoot, that like gets in the way of your cost of living. And then I was also looking up like immigration because I want to move to New York City. That's like $100,000 out of pocket. I was looking up things like what was it? Surrogacy, because let's say I fall in love with a man and we can't have a baby. That's like $100,000 out of pocket. It's like the government's taking advantage of us in certain ways, and I mean they already got us on taxes, so it's like, how far are they willing to go before like the economy just, well, I mean it currently is crumbling.
The American government is a paycheck to paycheck government. That's what we are. We are a paycheck to paycheck country. We're a hand to mouth country. We are not that big superpower that we like to portray ourselves as. We're like a shitty drug dealer that still owes the man. That's what we are. We're terrible at it, but we keep going to the
Well,
club. America keeps
the
going to the
system
club and
holds
not
us hostage.
re-upping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the sad part is that we have a largest military in the world. Our military is
Oh,
the equivalent
strong,
of
so strong.
32 of the other largest military combined. We're still bigger.
Oh
We
yeah, we're
have
such
five
a
percent
strong
of the
military.
yeah, we have 5% of the
Well,
population, but we have 25% of the prisoner population.
And I
Yes,
mean
we
I
do.
don't
But
when
exactly
we're
you
supposed to
when
know.
you
be
owe
land of
that
the
many
free, home of the
countries money,
brave.
you want a big military. Like
You want to
Yeah,
flex their
absolutely.
there's a
guns.
reason for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, technically we're the who gonna take me boo nation, you know?
Hmm.
it's exactly
Yeah,
it.
Um,
It's sad.
Shoot.
You'd be surprised at where we land in education.
I don't
That's a
even think
problem
top
too.
50 anymore. I
That's a
think we're like in
problem
the
here too.
30s, and it keeps going down.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
sad case all around. But it's easier
Yeah.
to
well, I
manipulate a
mean,
population when they're dumb. So
Yep.
everything is
Exactly.
working the way it's
We've seen
supposed
this
to work.
before.
Yeah.
We've seen this
when we're
before. I'm looking at you, slavery.
hmm
when we're
They're just doing it for everybody now.
33 trillion when we're $33 trillion in debt, like what's preventing the other superpowers of the world, mainly China, from collecting it? Like we kind of put ourselves in a position where we
Must.
have to spend that on military because otherwise they're gonna collect it in a way that we won't
Yes, they
like.
will.
Like it's a very
Yeah.
weird situation.
Well, I think when you see all the disputes that, like, I guess the American government or military has with other places, I mean, hence what's going on currently, like, you would hope that the UN would, like, protect us all, but then you still have bad blood between all of these countries.
Yeah. We're not a good friend to other nations. You're not a good friend at all.
Oh my god.
You know.
But,
Oh
hey, how
man.
about we shoot over to our next topic? This one's actually a little more lighter. Has anybody got to see Lil Nas X in his SNL performance?
Yes! It was fantastic!
Oh my god, there are so many mixed opinions about it. I personally loved it. I love the kid. I mean, he's being himself. He is exuding like his like energy from his inner being and just putting it out there so everybody has to experience it. And I mean, he forces people to accept it in a way. And I mean, you got the people that are trying to fight it, but that's not the world we live in anymore. So he's really
His
doing an
face,
amazing
though,
thing.
when his pants ripped, it was like 13-year-old child back on
Yeah.
stage in front of all his friends, and he
Yes.
goes, whoop.
That's
I'm glad you mentioned that.
so I could I don't know if anybody noticed, but from the wardrobe, if you see on the leg, it has like it has a lining in the middle of the leg that's kind of like a pantyhose, so you kind of see right through. He was not wearing underwear. That's why he gagged so hard. So
Yes.
when that zipper in the middle of those leather pants went pop, it was over. It was over, and he knew that he had to finish that set with his hand in between his legs. But I mean, he was professional about it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
yes, you could see he made it aware that he made like a little mess up, but like he really continued performing, had the whole thing seem kind of almost natural, and I applaud him for that, especially because he's the type of guy to like then go on the internet and make fun of himself.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my God. That was so adorable, too. I was just like, good job.
and I
You
mean,
did
it can be a
great.
defense mechanism at one time, but like it's also showing like he's able to personally understand his character is not something he has to compromise as a celebrity right now. So I love the kid. He's really
Did y'all
doing his
see
thing.
the follow-up interview with Jimmy Fallon?
Oh my god, no! Please tell me.
You have to go see it because they have the pre-show clip with the move that he couldn't do, and it is
Yes.
impressive.
It's
Oh,
phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's
so
impressive.
if anybody hasn't seen it, pretty much Lil Nas X was dancing, and during that instrumental break of the song Montero, he pretty much backs up onto a pole, gives a little whine, and then tries to do a dip, and on the way down, split.
It was adorable.
It was so
It
adorable.
was
He re-
adorable. It was
Impressive
absolutely
recovery.
perfect.
Yeah.
If you watch it in slow mo, his face like he's embarrassed, but he's going with it. Like
It
it's
reminds me
so
of Macaulay
amazing.
Culkin.
Yeah.
I love it so much. But yeah, he's really doing it. I'm definitely going to check out that interview. Big time.
Can I
You
just
Um,
should.
say about his performance though, like the significance of his performance on SNL with
yeah.
those guy background dancers and like doing
Mm.
the thing he did,
Mm-hmm.
it was phenomenal. Like even if you're not a big Lil Nas X fan, like I'm not a
Right.
huge fan of his. I obviously love the way he does the internet. I love the way he is doing his career now. But
Mm.
just that is huge because we've never seen anything like that before from any, I won't say from anybody. We've had like Boy George and,
Yeah.
those kind of ambiguous, but he
There's
I
so
don't
is
much
think
just
more
we
like on
do
freedom
another
see.
now.
level.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because I think
he's on another level. I'm loving it.
I
Were
saw
you
things
were
on
you
the
all
internet.
aware that that was the first SNL this season that had a or the last, I think it would be one of the last ones that had a full audience.
Oh no.
I did not pay
He had a
attention to that.
full
Well, I
audience.
guess that's why
Yeah.
the pants definitely mattered.
Yeah.
Like, oops. Hi.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Not to mention, I mean, like if you're ever on set when they're filming, there's like at the end of his what's the word? At the end of his like little performance, he's stuck there in his like pose as his final stance, and he's like, you can see in his face, he's like, turn the camera off. He's waiting for them to turn the camera off because like you have to wait there for it to like clock out, but it's also you have the dead space so it can edit. So it was so funny just to see him in that moment. I love it. There's a lot of people lately who've been like attacking like his personality or his masculinity, or like kind of comparing him to, let's say, Cardi B's performance when she had all the women all over her. And I think like again, we have a hefty amount of people in this world who are a little sensitive to things, and I mean, they're like, we have our kids out here, and I mean, then don't give your kid
The
access to
performance
the
was
internet.
at 11:30 at night.
Right.
Yeah,
What are
11:30
your
at
kids
night.
doing up?
Your kids who are up watching at 11:30 at night aren't listening to you anyway.
That's the problem. They don't need to worry. They
Facts.
got their new iPhone 12 Pro Max on their wireless charger right next to their bed.
They're
They
gonna
just had to log
see
in.
it, girl.
We can't hide things from the kids the same way we used to.
All these, like, seriously, I'm an adult now. I have raised a child in the generation of the phone in hand and access to everything. And my goodness, the challenges are so much more different than when I was a kid, because you had to go looking for these things. They can just turn on their phone and, in the middle of a YouTube video, there's a cut to something you didn't want them to see.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we just raised them with awareness, because that's the only thing you can do. And
Exactly.
we're open-minded, so we're just like, if it's not your bag, turn it off.
I think censorship has taken such a turn. Like there was a time, like I grew up in an age where all I know is computers and phones, honestly. So like my mom would definitely try and get me away from things. Or there are times where she'd let me sit in the room and then cover my eyes when it was like not the right time. If I said a bad word, she would take that right out of me. But she also was the really cool mom. Like she understood like it's the world we live in, and kind of like you have to coach our kids and like our their peers that like the world we live in isn't as plain and simple. We're born so innocent. So innocent.
And it can get corrupted so fast. And like I said, we're open-minded people. We metered what we taught and when we taught it. But you have no way of stopping where the world you don't want your kid to see intervenes in their life.
Mm-hmm. I feel like even like you could shelter your kids so much. Like like sometimes when kids have that syndrome because like let's say they were homeschooled all their life and then they finally get introduced to like social life. Like there's always gonna be a point where they're gonna collide eventually. So you might, like you said, bring awareness to your children and try and coach and curate their experience for it, because it's the best way how to parent.
Yeah.
Next topic. I actually love this one because this is super deep. This is of an artist I've known all my life. Lady Gaga recently has kind of went on interview with Oprah, speaking about a psychotic break she experienced after sexual assault. It's a lot. Like after that, she encountered pregnancy and had to deal with mental illness, and she also went through a period of like self-harm because she felt like she had no choice. Those were her words exactly. There was a time when she was like 19, recording artist, and like her producer herself demanded she take her clothes off and threatened to burn all her music if not. So through the events like of abuse and like such, like it brought her to the point where she was diagnosed with PTSD, and that wasn't revealed until like 2016 when she was finally went public about it. So like, it's a wild experience, and I mean, the way she opened up about it on Oprah was so painful to watch. I didn't even see the whole interview, but like, it was a lot. Especially because, I mean, this isn't the only time you ever hear a story like that in the industry. And I mean, it's something you have to kind of be ready for, but like, we don't want anybody to have to go through that.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it would be. It would be so nice.
I mean, this is what Me Too is about. And this is
Exactly.
where you heard your friends and people who may never have spoken out about it before say Me Too.
And I think she even quoted Me Too specifically in the interview. She said like I recognize and I support the Me Too agreement, but like me, I'm not ready. I'm not ever going to be able to face this person again. And like, she was breaking down in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
And this is why so many women don't bring forward charges. It's terrifying.
Exactly.
There's so many odds stacked against you, and I mean that entire thing. Because I mean, from personal experience, my mother went through sexual assault from her husband at the time, actually, and like, even in that scenario, it's he said, she said, and then the odds stacked against you. Not to mention the fears and anxiety you're dealing with. You don't want to have to deal with it. You don't want to say it out loud. You don't want, like, that's why people then realize that they're dealing with trauma 20 years later that's affecting them in their lives today. My mom just
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Like, my mom just started going to therapy, I think 2 years ago, and started dealing with, and even now she's only just dealing with her conditions in anger management and stuff like that. It's a long process, and I mean, if you have something like that bottled up in you, it really takes a toll.
Women are shamed into accepting the blame for something that they didn't do. I remember during the Kavanaugh hearings, I had taken my kids into a bookstore, like a little mom and pop bookstore, looking for some summer reading or something. And it was right in the midst of it, and the testimony against him from the woman that he raped. And there was a cluster of men at the counter talking about that. And they were focused on, oh my goodness, this can come out at any time. These women can lie about us at any time, or say, you know, that things didn't go the same way that I perceived them. And it was the middle of the daytime, so I don't know why they felt like this was the place to talk about it. But it was infuriating because they were like, oh, poor us, like, you know, and I stopped. Then this gets funny. I was so mad because I was there with my two daughters. I was like, yeah, imagine being raped. And I turned around and I left the store. One of the guys ran after me into the street, screaming, thanks for sharing your perspective. And I was like, it was just the most bizarre.
You're making my point, dude.
Yeah, like, so sorry. Imagine being in her shoes.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking at this comment right now by Lance Johnson. Those who run the industry know people are willing to do it all to reach their goal, and they take advantage of it. That's the fact. I mean, like, I've seen that story on TV so many times.
That's patriarchy.
Even in, like,
that's patriarchy.
Yep. It's definitely in, like,
a whole
hierarchy that's built, and it's like, once you want to, like, reach that next level, you will take every stake to get there. And I mean, I don't blame people for certain decisions, but
I don't even think it has to be about wanting to reach the next level, though. You know, I think you can be an ambitious person and still not deserve to be taken advantage of. You know, you can be one of those people that's like, yo, I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to do more than the next person, and you still don't deserve to be okay. Well, since she's willing to do more than the next person, she deserves to be taken advantage of. I think some people are manipulators, and they're gonna be manipulators, and that's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and in this case, it's more of, like he said, the patriarchy than anything else.
It's like
I just wish more people
Justin.
realize that it affected us all. It's not just women.
Yeah. I mean, just kind of piggybacking on what you're saying. Look at what happened to Janet Jackson after the oops.
Boom.
He only just apologized for that, and Janet was a powerhouse. She did not deserve that, and it undermined her career. Why?
He erupted her career, like ripped her credibility. Like people were really ripping her to shreds and blaming her. It was disgusting. Like,
She was a powerful woman. And so, I mean, it goes to show it is about the patriarchy, like Lamar said. It's, that's the cap that we can't surpass because the power lies there.
I also don't think it's just people climbing the ladder. We just hear about the people who have climbed the ladder because they're the most famous. Like, I think a lot of people it happens to, and they're just not prepared for this situation, so they freeze and they don't get that fame and fortune out of it. So I think there's a lot of unnamed names that deserve the same recognition, but unfortunately don't get it.
And the same help.
Connor's right. Connor's right as well. I recall as a young kid listening to how the world treated Monica Lewinsky.
Oh my!
Her name was ran through the mud. I recall that vividly, and I thought, like, wow, and she probably didn't deserve it, So I find it interesting. I find it interesting how people in positions of power, men, will do this to people that I'm looking at you, Bill Gates, to people that they employ, and then want their own families, their own children, daughters, some of them, nieces maybe, want them to be treated differently. Interesting.
I think that's when you have to break apart the reality of it. I think there's just so many people in life who will look at a celebrity and view them as this super being above us all, and really they're just like everybody else. We are all susceptible to these type of things. It's the most tiring conversation. I feel really sorry for her. I cried when I watched that interview. It was hard.
I will add this to this conversation. As men, as a man, we have to.
It happens.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you, Monique. I stopped.
Oh, Monique. Please go ahead, Monique, and then we'll go back to Lamar. Oh wait, no, now Monique's gone.
I wanted to finish. I didn't know. Was there something I said?
I guess we have to move
I apologize,
forward.
Monique. Please come back.
Oh no. Oh, now it's just.
Oh no.
Well, Lamar, finish your comment.
Let me say this as a man in regards to sexual assaults or harassment or any unbecoming behavior from men on behalf of to women on behalf of men. I want to say that it would behoove us to do our best to uphold women, to listen to women, to see them and view them as people. I'm married to a woman. Her daughter's a woman. My kid's a woman, and I don't want to hurt people. Therefore, I'm not going to hurt people. So I expect people to treat all of us, equally. And I think we need to do our due diligence to listen to women when it comes to things like this, and not to be dismissive, because that's somebody's mother, aunt, sister, niece, friend. So they need to be heard too.
Being with ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah, a full 360 degrees of human experience.
Please, Connor, go.
Yeah, just a caveat that I completely agree, but sexual assault isn't anything. Like, you saw Terry Crews come out and speak about it. I know people who have, as men, suffered sexual abuse, sexual assault, and guys, and I feel like there's a stigma when a guy comes forward about it that
There is.
it's interesting because it's not the same stigma where if a girl comes forward with it, the stigma is usually, oh, she's dating, whereas there's this male stigma where, like, oh, how'd you let that happen? Oh, it's just it happens to both, and I think that recognition of that is important.
I
Exactly.
agree
Connor,
with that.
I agree with you, Connor. I just understand that patriarchy taught me as a man that boys don't cry, boys hide their emotions. So patriarchy is not only bad for men, it's bad for women.
And that reminds me
Oh
of
yeah,
another
I
meme,
I
actually. Yeah.
It's
I
absolutely
actually keep
bad for women.
talking
So
about.
go ahead.
I cut out at the beginning of you, so if that's what you said, I apologize. I just
No,
caught
no,
the
it's
tail
okay.
end, so I just was trying to cut you.
No, but we, in terms of sexual harassment, we should be clearly thinking about how it affects women, but how it affects men as well, given the fact that we're all dealing with patriarchy. I mean, that's ultimately the issue that human beings. That's the ultimate human issue right there, in my opinion. You know.
I've heard backlash from women in relation to men being survivors of assault. I mean, it's out there, but I truly
Hmm.
think that any woman who faces this day to day, anybody really that understands pain, should be understanding and compassionate to anybody who's gone through
I
this
agree.
kind of trauma in their life, any kind of trauma in their life. And to discredit them or make jokes or disparage them from speaking is probably the worst way to control somebody and keep them in hurt.
Well,
Exactly.
I
I've
agree.
actually never heard personally a woman disparaging or making light of a male who went through. It's been more like he said, patriarchy affecting men. It's more personal experience, men making light of male on male or female on male sexual abuse.
I but like from that patriarchy, I was like, I mean, we come from a time where like men were dominant, and I mean, women were viewed as objects or tools, even pets. Sorry to say, like it's a time we come from, and I mean, I don't view the like life like we have a housewife like that. We could never do that. We're all human, and I think the patriarchy is going to get in the way at all times. But that's just that point when we have to like move forward, try and get away from it, try and like realize what are our own concepts and what do we want out of the world. I mean, if we simply throw out our own opinions out there, they'll reach somebody. Yes, Lance, you got it on me, man. It's rough. It's the life.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Men dominated, but it took everyone to create this world we live in.
And everybody wins when women win.
Exactly.
I can
Like
agree with
everybody
that.
wins.
Everybody wins.
Everybody. There are so many men that would love to be house husbands right now. Like,
Oh, so many men that hey, there's so many men that are house husbands right now. Let's be real.
hello.
I can definitely
Let's be
cook and
real.
clean.
There's nothing wrong with that too. It takes everyone to make this whole thing work.
I can't
Until we
iron
Exactly.
understand
at
that, we're
all.
always going to be left. We're always going to be falling
PJ
behind.
does all my ironing.
Kudos to PJ.
That's where
That
I'm
is a
at right
tedious
now.
task.
My
And my
my
wife and I share the cooking
fiance's
details.
my fiance's full time in like an accelerated nursing program. I'm
Mhm.
off this summer, so I'm taking care of the house. Like,
And I
That's very
think that
nice.
I actually had a conversation with somebody I know recently about that. Like they were so conflicted because like their wife was the breadwinner during the pandemic and they've kind of been stuck. And it took them back. Like, they said they experienced depression. And I'm not like invalidating that, but I think that concept in the mind, it was more like a fragile ego they were experiencing. I have no idea about it.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. You know, like 15,000 years of history of men running things, and look where it's gotten us. Like, it's like, what is it? What is that? The definition of crazy is doing the same thing.
What do we have to lose
every
at this
day
point?
And expecting different results? Nah, I'm good. Let's change it up.
Truth. Oh
Let's
my.
change it up.
Well, we're just about to hit 9 o'clock, y'all. I do want to switch over to our commercial break before we finally hit up the main topic.
Let's do it.
I'm excited to be in a show with them finally.
Oh wow, it has been a while. For Color Girls was the last show we were all. That was the first show 10 years ago.
Yes.
Oh no, don't delete that out.
That was pre-Whoa Nelly Media, but it was in fact a Duryea Rashad production.
Yes.
So there you go.
I know,
babies.
We were babies, so we'll really see how much we've grown. That'd be great. Yeah, I love it.
So here we are, so excited. Great.
All right, y'all. So I honestly just want to like shout out Pretty in Pink because I took a check out, a little look at what they got, and I mean the bundles are together. Like, if you ever need to switch up your unit, I beg of you, go check them out. Like, it's solid. So guys, today we're going to be talking about the topic of being married to a manipulator. Oh, a little spicy. It definitely can be in so many different aspects. I mean, we face a lot of people, and I mean, especially once you're invested in them, once you're giving your heart and soul to somebody, you're willing to sacrifice, and you're willing to like compromise so much for somebody. So I mean, sometimes we don't even realize it. Sometimes we're like faced with choices, and no matter what, we pick the other person over ourselves. Like the definition of like psychological manipulation is a type of social influence that aims to change the behavior or perception of others through indirect, deceptive, or underhanded tactics by advancing the interests of the manipulator, often in the other's expense. Such methods could be considered exploitive and devious. So, once you got the ring on your finger, a house together, let's say kids, it gets really, really wary. What are your guys' thoughts?
It's in my. Can I say something?
Please.
First, I lost a good friend to suicide because she was married to a narcissist, and he manipulated her a lot, and made her believe that her life was constantly in danger.
Ooh.
And she ended her life because of it. And I was unaware. I was completely clueless. I thought she was just going through a bad divorce.
Right.
And I wish I would have known more because she really did need help and she didn't know how to reach out. And it could be from just, like, oh, this is a bad person to I got to die or somebody has to die. We've seen this, Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson. So I think we have hurt people, and we have to listen to the signs and follow your heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy out there.
I've always taught my kids, hurt people, because with bullying, that's what it comes down to. But when you're dealing with a manipulator,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe they had those experiences that corrupted them. Maybe they had a bad upbringing or, some kind of trauma in their life. But at the point, I think at the point where you decide to harm someone else, you can't just call that a hurt person anymore. Manipulators do things on a different level, and like I'm blessed to have had a 19-year relationship. That's not the issue, but I've still run into those people. And the moment the manipulator does not need you anymore, they will stick a knife in your life, and they will do everything they can to watch you burn.
It's a bit like a narcissist complex at the same time, because I mean,
By definition,
everything is at stake for themselves. So I think it's kind of baffling how somebody could be, partaking so much in somebody else and their life just for that cause. But it's intense.
But they don't know how to do anything except take. They want the attention. They want your stuff. I literally had this happen to me at a place of employment. I was just like, I'm a bleeding heart. So I'm like, oh, divorce, starting off on your own. Here you go. We've got extra toys. We've, got $10. I'll buy you coffee. I'll help you out with this so you can leave work early and go get the kids. And this person told me one day, just kind of nonchalantly, like, we were buds. And she was like, yeah, I do, like, I would call myself a manipulator, but I only do it for good. And I knew at that moment she was going to slit my throat. And she absolutely did. It took 6 months, and she got a posse together and bullied me out of my job.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I've actually
It's okay. I was fine.
experienced those type of people in the work field. Get close and then they bury you to take over. It's insane. I've definitely had a friend who recently experienced a separation with their partner. And they, from the outside looking in, they've always been the best of bros. Like, they were two husbands. They've been together for like 6 years now. And I never knew they had issues. Not many people did. But then come to find out now, during the climax of everything, it turns out one of the husbands was a manipulator. He was, generally he was like the other partner's safety blanket. He made him feel comfortable because of his own abandonment issues. And through all of it, he inserted himself in this person's life who was like, he had a house, he had a good job, he had his kids, he just left his wife to now date this man. And then they got married, and now everything's hitting the fan because, like, the person has, what they usually do to pretty much control is, whenever anything wasn't going their way or things weren't all together, they would lash out, blame the other person, and constantly put this weight on them that made my friend feel like he was at fault at all times. And it made my friend actually grow to have anger issues. So normally they would end up in like brawls. And I only came to find this out 2 months ago. And I've been trying to support him through it, but now he really feels like a lot has been wasted, he being the victim of it. And I know for me, I could simply say, hey, I understand your pain, but I really don't. And I can't tell him, try and focus on yourself, keep your head up, do better. But he's really in the dumps because that was his life now crumbling.
So now he has to focus on rebuilding his own autonomy. Because
Exactly.
because in those type of situations, yes, you have a manipulator, but you also have the other person that is codependent or susceptible to being codependent. So that within itself, there's a reason why that you attracted that manipulator to you, and unfortunately, it's a lot of to bring yourself back to back to you, so to speak. And also, yeah, I do emphasize with the manipulator because I know they come from a place of hurt, and instead of healing from that hurt, they've basically internalized that pain and lashed out to others in order to achieve whatever goals that they may have, whether it's greed, whether it's a goal of, well, I've been to get hurt again, so to speak. So kind of like with Shakespeare back in the day, he had a what was a phrase from one of the plays? It was better to love than to not love at all. So I think people have to
Love and loss.
come to a place of not being afraid of loss, and then when you come into that loss, heal from that loss, so that way you won't hurt others in the process that we call life.
Mo, what you just said made me think of, and I don't watch this show, but Married at First Sight. I've seen a lot of chatter about the couple, Paige and Chris. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess Chris is like this major manipulator, and Paige is kind of one of those people that is codependent.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just listening to a podcast today that, made me think of this very topic of Chris being just, this manipulative person and getting Paige to do what he wants, and then at the end kind of deciding, oh, I guess this is the woman for me now. And she just being like, oh, yeah, I'll marry you. And the little producers of the show had to say, are you sure you want to do this? Because this is this isn't the guy for you. This is not the guy for you. So it's
Exactly, like
it's
sis, this ain't it.
important to it's important to see the signs early, and they can be very, very small, just someone constantly getting you to go their way is a sign when you know you're convicted in what you're standing in, but you constantly end up giving into the other person. That's a sign, because you don't always have to be the bigger person. I'm one to not be the bigger person, actually. Just because I'm in this age now where I'm like a
It,
tree, I shall not be moved. But
it's the one thing to be the bigger
hey,
person, but at the same time, you don't be the either. That's the biggest thing. Like you acknowledge, I forgive you your behavior. It's not that hard, or am I dismissed?
Um, Mo, 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 Mo. Mo, I can't hear
My
anything
internet
now.
provider. No.
Yeah,
That's the
No.
remix
Can you hear me
version.
now?
that was a remix. Yeah, I think it's better now. Wait, try.
That was a remix. Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
that was giving me Missy
Can you
Elliott
hear me now?
2003.
Hey, that's one of my favorite artists. But can you hear me now?
Oh no, it is. It's still kind of choppy.
No?
Yeah,
It's still kind of choppy. So we
yeah.
about to do chopped and skewed tonight. Yes. Texas, baby.
If you
All
want,
right, y'all
maybe
y'all go
sign
ahead
out
and talk
something.
amongst yourselves, and I'll
Hmm.
try to get back in.
All right. Well, I'll bounce off of it myself. I definitely my personality. I grew up bullied and stuff like that, but never been married. But I have been manipulated in many forms due to the fact that I grew up kind of trying to fit in, I came to be a yes man a lot of times when I really shouldn't have. And it wasn't just to impress people, but it was also to, I thought it would get me places sometimes. I thought it would get me friends or, bring me reward or something like that. Times when I really didn't believe, I was enough at times. So, sometimes that's when I fell into a manipulator's, clutches.
Oof.
um, because, I would give up so much. Like times when it was financial, or where I would go out of my way to do favors for people just so they would view me better. And I don't know, I guess I was expecting or hoping that tomorrow, a week from now, I would start to experience maybe the same effects. Because, we grew up to think, treat somebody the way you want to be treated. And I mean, if I'm giving, and then I never realized I wasn't getting, it really used to harm me a lot. I think that was a cause of some of the depression I experienced in my teenage years. And I think I only realized in the past 2-3 years to choose myself.
And it's a hard lesson.
Yeah. And sometimes just being around, just having someone to hold on to is enough, right? It's enough to put up with the manipulation. Well, at least I have somebody in my life every day. So I'm going to allow myself to continue to go through this just to have somebody to hold on to. And it's no fault of our own. It really isn't. It's just, again, that manipulation, we can't see it head on. So a lot of the times it takes other people to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Lamar said, a lot of times they make you fearful. I had a boyfriend way back in the day that the relationship changed and I didn't like it and I wanted to kind of roll things back. And he basically said, no, you've already opened this door. You can't go back. That's it. And I wanted to keep the relationship and I was young. So I allowed myself to continue with the relationship that was toxic and definitely not in my benefit. Because I was afraid. He made me afraid that nobody else would like me the same way, or that there was no other relationship after that, or that he would end things poorly. But that's what a manipulator does: is they don't just mess with you; they rip apart other relationships around you as they go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Has anybody?
I can attest to that.
Lamar, did you have another point?
No, I can attest to that. I was in a 10-year relationship where this woman, basically, I couldn't see my family with her. I guess I was so involved in a relationship, I just blinded by whatever I thought was love or what I thought was love. But it's funny when you're in something. It's like an old joke: fish in the water. Oh, uh, hey, how's the water going, guys? And they say, what's the water? Yeah, when you're in a relationship, you don't know what manipulation is. In my opinion, from my experience, it wasn't until I got outside it was like, oh wow, these are behaviors that weren't of me. They weren't natural to me. My strings were being pulled. So I think it's me was I was I think in the discussion I'm more interested in how do you see that behavior and how to root out said behavior if you are someone that is dealing with that. Like, yeah, if you identify as, hey, I manipulate people, how can I root that out of my behavior? I think that's something we should discuss because toxic behavior is bad all around for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I
I'm more of a solution driven person, but it's interesting because I've dealt with it and it was difficult.
So I guess we could start with Rikia here. She's asking, what are some of the red flags of someone being a manipulator?
Could I make a few comments before we go into that?
Oh yeah, please shoot, Connor.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with a lot of things that have been said. Hurt people. I disagree with because find someone in our age range collectively that hasn't been hurt. It's not hurt people that hurt people. It's bad people that hurt people. Everyone's been hurt. That doesn't give you an excuse to hurt future people within your life. Mo mentioned empathizing with manipulators because they have gone through things. I understand empathizing to a point. That is why they are the way they are. But the way I see it, there's sheeps, there's shepherds, and there are wolves. Sheeps are the people who are codependent and will match up with a manipulator. Wolves are the manipulators, and shepherds are people who are in a healthy relationship. And while I can empathize with wolves to the point where this is why they are as predatory as they are, I will not empathize with them to the point of justifying. I will still try to convince people who are codependent that they are good enough, that they should love themselves, and that they should become shepherds, that they don't need that codependency to function. Like, was Monique who mentioned being with someone because it's better than being alone. And I think that's the biggest issue when it comes to being in a manipulative relationship is people think that me being alone is worse than me being mistreated. And it comes from a lack of self-worth and a lack of self-love. And I think that the key to a healthy relationship is realizing that you are okay alone, that like once you are comfortable being alone, that's when you are ready to be in a relationship, in my opinion.
Now, let me reiterate because I know I was chopped and screwed half the show. I was saying that yes, I do emphasize with with the manipulator. However, it's because they did not do the work of healing. So it doesn't mean that I was giving them excuses, and I wasn't trying to give them a cop out, because yes, 95% of the people on this earth have been hurt in some kind of way. Some people have been hurt more than others. And unfortunately, as a consequence of them being hurt more than others, they can either do one or two things, because usually with the manipulator slash someone being manipulated, it's basically the swing of a pendulum, because oppressors can easily become oppressed, and oppressed people can easily become oppressors. And I know that sounds weird, but there's been plenty of examples from a historical standpoint. So what I'm basically stating is that is there a fine line? And going back to Ricky's comment about what are some of the signs, one of the biggest signs is people pleasing. And then on the opposite end, the lack of people pleasing, the selfishness within that person, that they have to always be right regardless of who that hurts. There was a phrase that in the old school church saying that basically I would rather be righteous than right, meaning that there's no point of keep on browbeating your point across to that person if it's going to continue to hurt that person. So
Okay. I definitely like following that one. I did actually pull up some of the known causes, red flags of being a manipulator. So just to list some of them, like actually I've heard here today, making other people feel guilty in name of professional conscience, unloading responsibilities onto others to and or to dismiss their own, not clearly communicating the request, needs, feelings, often responding vaguely, often changing their opinions or behaviors or feeling depending on person or situation, citing all kinds of logical reason to disguise their requests. And they cast into doubt the qualities, skills, and personalities of other people they criticize without appearing to do so, devalue, or and judge.
I got
That
one to add.
example that I
Wow,
gave earlier.
that last one was heavy.
Yeah, I found out somebody was taking credit for a lot of my work after that last incident. That's always fun. I always wish I could be a fly on the wall after that. I'd be like, you think that you're telling everybody you did what I did? I would love to see you recreate it. Let's go.
That is
I think
crazy. I didn't even think about like that scenario, because I mean I experienced a lot of time when I was in high school. Actually, it was one of those times where, like, you know when you're like forced to work in a group and then you have the few people who don't put in the same amount of effort. I was not like at school for one day, and when pretty much the teacher asked who did this, who did that, they pulled me down to the bare minimum as if they did the entire project. And this was Comtech, so I mean, unless you knew how to code, video edit, except like I did it all. So, oh my god, that was a rough day. That being taken advantage of in a way where, like you said, like devaluing you and taking advantage and using your assets to that was the most bullshit. I remember it infuriated me, and I guess to this day now, I can't believe how fast I forgave the person.
Yeah.
God.
What are things you suggest?
Yep.
I think a red flag to add would be separation from support channels.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've seen, not personally, but with cause rifts between your close friends and families, so that you lose contact with them, so they can't tell you, "Hey, you're being manipulated."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think one of the signs, like this is like super early sign, like like if I could rewind the clock and go back and tell myself this before the relationship even developed into one that could hurt me, listening to how they talk about other people and the amount of time they complain. So if they've constantly got something negative to say, or they pose questions in a way like, what do you think about so and so? Don't you think they're kind of ugh? You know? And they're giving examples of how other people make them uncomfortable, and they want to gossip about things, and they're constantly the victim of their circumstances. That is the very first red flag. Like, just cut off the relationship, turn and run away.
Manipulation does also take place in friendships as well, just like those same terms of gossip. Think about the movie Mean Girls. We all know it. Things can really be turned on you in your own circle, and you could really think that, like, you have a small circle and you're safe sometimes, but you really have to, I mean, sometimes there's no way of getting around it or noticing it, but, like, you have to, like, keep on the eye out for who's really on your side and who's really sticking out for you the same way. Like, creating a circle of people you could truly trust is probably my major thing right now. Like I said, in the past 3 years, I've been, like, building on myself, and, like, I think creating concrete friendships is my major, like, prerogative. Like, I don't think I've had true friends in ever. I have a few, but no. Oh, god damn, I didn't mean to do that. But
because you got to at least have one good friend.
No, yeah, I have some really good ones. Lance Johnson, right there. That's my guy. That's my dude.
Right.
And I've known him for like 6 years. But what I'm building on is creating a relationship with somebody where I can confide in them, and that won't be turned on me at some point. Or people that, like, 10 years from now, we're still talking on a consistent basis, still looking out for each other, still checking in every once in a while to see how we're doing. Like, yesterday, I think I told Lance about me being depressed over the weekend because I was dealing with my brain and stuff. And he stayed on the phone with me all day.
Oh.
I truly appreciate him. And I think building those relationships is probably one of the things that some people can covet and some people do take for granted.
Yeah, absolutely.
We talk about the small signs, but I think it's important to pay attention to the big signs too, because sometimes the wolf would just let you know what he's gonna do flat out. And Maya Angelou said it best: when people show you who they are, believe them. Don't take it as a grain of salt. Believe exactly the first time. So
the first
when you know
big
better,
signs
you
are
do
important.
better.
So on that note, this is something, again, I wish I had when I was younger, but I'm sending young girls out into the world now, so I'm looking for every resource I got. One of the coolest things that I saw was for people who are matching on like Tinder, Grindr, whatever. I don't even know what they all are anymore. If the guy proposes, or a partner, whoever it is, proposes a place to go, new friendships, whatever, same rule applies. Make a subtle change to the plans. So if they're like, hey, I would love to go check out this new restaurant at 11 o'clock on Wednesday, meet you there for margaritas, and you write back, oh, that sounds great, but actually Thursday works better for me. The manipulator type tends to balk at the change. Like, you're just supposed to do what they want to do. So you can kind of vet people even from that standpoint. I'm like, girls, any date you guys go on, I need you to change one thing and see what happens.
Now wait a minute. Now what about the
Because the
ones that
manipulator has to have control.
right? But what about those situations where you tell them, "Oh, my availability is free,"
Oh gosh, it is.
and
Give
then
me
you
robot
come up with
again.
that maneuver, you know? Ah, boo, this sucks.
I missed the middle part.
I'm mad that you heard that part of me and this sucks. You didn't hear the first proposal I said. This birthday grade, I am already.
I think one of
I
the
heard myself being the robot.
oh
Oh.
I think one of the major things in red flags we can always notice is a person's jealousy. Um, I mean, sometimes I think we don't notice as a red flag because we think of jealousy as just an emotion. But jealousy takes part in somebody's character and changes somebody's decisions a lot. And in those moments where they then take advantage, lie, cheat, steal, that's when jealousy takes a turn for the worse. Like, I mean, I've been jealous of people. Sometimes I look at people and I'm like, wow, I wish I had those Jordans. But I definitely never acted on it in any malicious way. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where it changes. There's such a thin line with jealousy. Such a thin line.
I was gonna say,
Well, and let's talk about it
jealousy could
because
stem
some
from
people.
insecurities.
And definitely, I've been insecure.
Yeah, it could stem from insecurities. I don't
I think
discount
we've
what you're
all had
saying that
moments
it
of
could be a
insecurity.
tool used to manipulate,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the person doing that is maybe using as a ruse. I find out that, especially just in my anecdotal experience, that when I was manipulated, it was a lot of gaslighting, a lot of projecting, a lot of accusations, and it was like, wow. And I left most conversations feeling like, wow, questioning my own reality. Like, am I even did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think when in terms of jealousy, it really depends on the person you're with or you're dealing with, because it could be an either or, as you were saying. It is a fine line. Is this person really this insecure, or are they just using this as a ruse to get me to do something I don't want to, or feel some way I shouldn't?
Mm-hmm.
So
But that's a
I'm
major
on the
thing.
fence with
Like,
that one, but I do understand that I can be used as a tool.
manipulators totally
I
like have
think
the power sometimes to make you do things you wouldn't on, like, let's say a normal
True, true,
basis.
true, true.
Yeah. Connor.
I was just gonna say that I think people who are generally codependent have actual jealousy issues and have like self-confident issues if you're going out, but they usually won't speak on it because insecure enough to like not even like validate their own emotions. And I think a lot of times when people are outwardly spoken about what you're doing, jealousy as far as who you're going out with and stuff, again, anecdotal personal experience, it's feigned to manipulate you into feeling like, oh wait, I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, some people take it as an actual good emotion to have. Like, oh, if they're jealous or if they're insecure, then that means they do need me. And so you allow
Yeah.
yourself again to be further manipulated. It's like it's that cycle of, do they need me? No, they don't need me. Do they need me? No, they. It's like you said, self
It's a
worth,
yo-yo.
self love. It is. It's a yo yo.
You know what that makes me think of? Have you ever heard of the concept of building a man or fixing
No.
somebody in a relationship?
Oh yes,
I
yes,
have heard of
Fixer-uppers.
that, yeah.
absolutely.
Those are very dangerous
Can't fix
situations.
Yeah,
people.
don't do it. Don't do it.
Because I
Don't do
mean,
it.
not to say, not. I mean, you probably have some really good intentions, but a lot of people fall short and they get frustrated when their expectations aren't met. It causes a lot of, like, what's the word? Tension in a relationship. I remember the man my mother was married to. He seemed like he appeared very logical, very consistent. The words he said and the brain he had on his head seemed all there. But then you seem to notice when their attitudes, their actions, and their lifestyle present completely opposite. When somebody's like he had a degree in, what was it? I think it was media production, and he was interested in getting involved in that. He actually used to have his own business for it as well. Used to create commercials and such for different companies. And then as time went on, my mom was picking up the slack. We ended up covering his debt, and he became very lazy in the relationship. I remember after my mom had 2 kids with him that he didn't actually watch the kids so much. He wasn't even around so much. He used to hang out with his friends often, or sleep, eat. He didn't simply provide the same way he did like the day we first met him. And though I think those characteristics that change, I mean, sometimes you'll see it and not understand it, but expect things to go back the way they were, even though it's consistently been different.
I think the one thing that I will say to that is that that's absolutely right. However, also at the same time, if you aspire, and I'm not going to say everybody has to, because things happen, sometimes you end up with the wrong people, but if you aspire to have a long-lasting relationship with somebody, there are going to be times of flux and failure.
Yeah.
The difference in that is there has to be some window of communication. So, and back in the day, women didn't have that ability to be like, hey, what's up? You're slacking. Like, something's going on. I want to talk to you. Let's hammer this out. That's not something that women had back in the day, but we have that now. So everybody here has the ability to go, you know what, something's off and we need to talk. Maybe not all of it all at once, but we need to start having a conversation about what's going on with you to see if this is a relationship that we can continue. And as long as you're open and communicate, you can understand the times where, like, maybe a spouse had something happen, they're depressed, or, you know, gosh, like, you go long enough, you go through kids, you go through health crises, you go through, I mean, just this generation, economic despair, pandemics, being stuck at home with them all the time. You have to be willing to communicate and also be giving enough to understand when your partner's not doing well.
I think that communication comes big. Like if you're able to like reach out to them, and I mean, they're in a way, especially when we're in that a relationship with somebody, we try to pick them up. Like I mean, we will do all we can, and then we also like we hope that they would want to do it for themselves as well.
And sometimes it takes time, and sometimes we have to encourage them to go get it from somebody else. Be like, all right, you know, I'm not the person to talk to. Maybe we're not jiving in the right way, or you're taking my tone in the wrong way. Can you go talk to your pastor? Can you go talk to a therapist? Can you go just see your doctor and get your blood levels checked? You know, that's the kind of conversation that you have to have over time, and that's how you keep it healthy.
And as far as like fixer-uppers, like you mentioned, like I said, everyone's been hurt. Everyone has some type of baggage. I think it's a matter of, and again, speaking from personal experience, I'm in a very stable relationship now. I've had a toxic relationship in the past. How you can discuss that baggage, like how you can control your lens on situations, basically. Like right now, if I had an issue and I realized that the way I'm looking at an issue I'm having with my spouse. I'm looking at previous toxic relationships. There's two ways to approach that. Say like, this is why I feel this way, or act on that feeling. And I think one of the healthiest things to do is say this, due to my past, due to what I've gone through, this I'm seeing this situation, rather than I am seeing this situation. This is reality. This is how I'm going to act on it. In a previous relationship, I was with someone who had been cheated on, like, uh, in every relationship she had been in, and there was a lot of projection of, you're doing this so you must be cheating, rather than, hey, I've been through this. This is how I'm perceiving it. Can you please talk me down from this ledge? And I think communication, like Hannah mentioned, and understanding why you react to a situation the way that you do.
Connor's 100% right on that, because it's not even just past relationships. 100%. It's how are you raised? What was your family relationship like? Like who framed your personality from the ground up? And you have to realize that the person across the table from you had possibly entirely different experiences, and you have to figure out how to talk between those.
Now that I've recently been getting into TikTok, I've been watching a lot of those about how things we were raised around affect us today. Like things like when you're a kid, and like your let's say your auntie wants to give you a hug before you leave the cookout or something like that, and you feel forced to do it. Like those things kind of force us to be, then later on have these certain issues when it comes to boundaries, or feel entitled to certain things. It's really intriguing. I do say look into it. I mean, you might even find some of those things in yourself sometimes. I have done a lot of soul searching.
I feel like you get to a certain stage in life when, I feel like you get to a certain stage in life when you're constantly unlearning bad behaviors from your past, things that you were instilled by your parents and your grandparents and law and folks like that around you. You do that, in certain stages, and it's all about growth. That's what.
Just about to say, it's growth, and it's great.
Yeah, you just have to be open to it, because it's shocking sometimes. Like, I had no idea that this one thing framed so much of my life.
Oh yeah.
Definitely going
and
to
it's
therapy
painful because you're unlearning.
Yeah.
You're
like it's the unlearning of everything you know.
Especially like when you're like, let's say, raised in a household, and let's say your father was that manipulator or your mother, and then that's what you know about a relationship. So then you then approach one with those same actions, and sometimes it could be like subconscious. Like you're probably not going in there to harm somebody, but you just, those are probably the tendencies you think are what you're supposed to do.
I'll say it like this jokingly. Like, so I grew up in, the South, and with a certain Southern code that I had to abide by, even though I was really bad at it and I broke it all up anyway. But still, when it comes up to dressing up or, going to a certain events, like, I'll still say to my kids, like, ooh, that's not quite code. Like, you gotta change your shirt, you gotta change your whatever. And PJ keeps telling me, he's like, stop it, just let her wear what she wants to wear. I'm like, but it's the code. We have to, it is so ingrained. Sometimes we don't see it at all. Like, and it's hard to break from it.
Indeed. I would always bring paper towels to a friend's house, because I was always raised like, you don't go over someone's house without bringing something. And one day she was like, why do you always, just something, why do you always, come to my house with paper towels? And like, I had to explain to her, this is why, because my grandmother and my grandmother's grandmother, and just from generations, that's what they did. They always brought something to somebody's house. So it's the stripping down of everything you thought you knew about yourself, and really asking yourself, hey, what do I like? what do I believe in? Not what my dad believed in, not what my mom, but what is Monique? What is Lamar? What is DanDre? Who am I? Like so you have to strip yourself down every day. Like you said, it's an everyday thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's
The
so
constant reworking
difficult
of
because
self.
it's so ingrained, like DanDre mentioned, it's subconscious. Like this is stuff that you grew up with, so this is how it's supposed to be. And being able to separate yourself from that and realizing that your perception is an absolute is such a hard thing to do. And for people who haven't like reached that stage in their life, like it takes work, it takes patience, uh just stick out.
And the consequences aren't that bad, like we grew up thinking, oh, you break the code, you don't bring the towels. This is like those chain letters and you were being cursed with 7 years bad luck. No, it's really fine. Like nobody's gonna freak out.
That's like we're like things are ever changing, and I think the generational stuff especially, it's like a cloud right over our heads, and like sometimes we have to bring our umbrella. I hated that. I hated that.
There's a saying that's like tradition is nothing but us listening to old white dead people. And it's like, that is so true.
Basically.
We're not doing anything but listening to old white dead people. And why? There are no consequences from this. So why?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Basically, I can't disagree with that.
I just want to backpedal a little bit because I did see a comment from Lance. I think social media plays a big role in this generation because nobody wants to get blasted online caught slipping in 4K.
Ooh, ain't that the truth?
I'm
so glad that I didn't grow up in that era.
I was raised in it. Man. Yo, if anything happened, world star! Like, that was the moment.
I'm so happy I was not born to this mess. I would be in prison now.
Yeah, my baby girl would not dance with anybody at the middle school dances because they would post it on Instagram.
That is so sad.
No.
Oh, wow.
I know. She's okay now.
Those little topics. I mean, like, in the gay community or, like, when I was a kid, if I hung out with a girl, if I'm hanging out with just another guy, it's immediately a topic. Oh, they're fucking. Like, huh?
Yeah.
No, I'm just living.
Awful.
Yeah,
I think the internet leaves a doorway to too much perception, and then a lot of us fall victim to everybody else's opinion sometimes. And the people who do freak out and go fuck themselves, respectfully. Look at PJ.
Hey, PJ.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
I remember the year kids stopped trying to break up fights and started filming them at school. Oh my gosh, that was an effect. It was a literal effect I felt. Because I got into a lot of scuffles, and there were times there was a kid that went to go get the teacher. There was a kid that was like trying to help you out. But that is completely different. Now that you just get that circle, everybody's a spectator, and they're just as involved.
They're spectators looking for the spectacle.
Yeah,
that's all.
That's it.
Everybody, I believe.
Go viral.
Yeah, Andy Warhol said
it's all about the clout.
everyone wants their 15 minutes of fame, but with the internet age, it's only 15 seconds long.
Yeah.
Like we're on to the next thing. It's not that important. I don't understand the fascination with I got to post it online.
And these people losing their lives to TikTok trends. Why?
Yes.
Yeah, because people don't live in the moment anymore.
No,
they basically try to get likes and do it for clout.
I will say I fell victim to little TikTok. I did start using it. Because, I mean, I'm a model, and I want to expand my audience, extend out to more people, my reach. And, I mean, now it's like, for my, as a model, for me to, get more followers or get more people onto my brand, I have to use Instagram. I have to use TikTok.
Makes sense.
People aren't looking for my name and memorize it. Pardon
There
me?
are some brilliant things that are being done with TikTok and Instagram, and
Yes.
like the kids are,
Yes.
doing some great things with these apps in terms of making their peers aware, teaching even us as adults things that we didn't know. But I think just the pressure that comes along with social media is really heavy for a 13, 14, 15-year-old. I think that's when it
It's
turns into like
toxic.
another thing, right? Because social media has done wonders for us. It has done
Yeah.
great things in terms of keeping us connected and again teaching us, but just the pressure
Yeah.
that comes
I will
along with
be
it, I don't think I would have been able to handle.
Yeah. I want to be
You know
completely clear.
what?
I am not dystopian tech at all. I love it. I embrace it. I've done a ton of work in social media. So I'm with you there 100%. But it's just like the stuff that's literally getting people killed because they're not thinking through, the put the nail through my foot challenge. I made that up. Don't do that, please. But, this is the thing. Yeah, don't. Get a tetanus shot if you do. But I mean, this is the stuff that shows up, and they're like, okay, it sounds great. Let's do it. Go eat a Tide Pod while you're at it.
Oh my god! But I grew up on those same challenges, like salt and ice, eat
No.
cinnamon. Oh my god! That was the thing. Like, I mean, we used to go to
No.
school and do it and show our friends, and it made us cool. Like just like Dan and Yoon said, like it's harder to really understand the way social media is the default means of communication. I think, just like I was speaking with you guys earlier, and Mo was saying how the kids don't go out to the clubs no more. They don't know about the old school jams, and I mean,
Right.
they're in a totally new way of life. They have the access. They have every bit of media at their fingertips, and I think it goes back to when we were talking about like the ways we parent. Like, we have to censor. We have to kind of teach them to get away from these things and understand their own livelihoods and the world around them, just as much as they understand how to use the piece of technology.
Well, it goes back to what I think Connor said
Right.
it, Monique said it, like self-love, self-worth. You got to know all of this, and in the process, whether it's dealing with the manipulator or the manipulation of social media, like that's what we got to have.
Once you fall victim to, I
Facts.
guess, those things, you lose senses of reality in a way. Um, so I guess once you're stuck to social media, I guess that's your reality. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, perception
Yeah.
is reality, but also just I guess right before we head into final thoughts, I
Hmm.
definitely want to let everyone know that to love yourself is ultimate, regardless of what material things that you have. You gotta first love yourself in order to prevent anyone to become that manipulator, because that's what brings that attraction to you.
Also, drink water.
Facts.
And drink water and mind your business. Come on now.
Exactly.
That is key to keep the melanin
Hey,
That
popping.
minding my
Okay.
So let's head into one more commercial break before we hit final thoughts, and then yeah.
Live theater is back at the Springer Opera House. The Springer Outdoor Theater Festival presents Theater Under the Stars in a new outdoor venue located on site at the Springer Opera House. From hit Broadway musicals to classic children's tales, the festival includes 7 hit shows on stage now through June. For more information, please visit springeroperahouse.org.
So that's the show for Spamalot at the Springer Opera House. I think,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah, that's the
Duryea
next
involved with
show.
that right now?
Yes. And I'm gonna go see him opening weekend. I'm gonna try my best to get down there because I have a very full schedule in June. But I'm about to make it
hell yeah.
happen. Okay.
It looks like a really
And
exciting
I
show. I know he's been dedicated to it.
Absolutely. And then I did go see him at the best little whorehouse in Texas. It was a
Yes.
fabulous show. Springer does an
Yes.
excellent job of bringing those type of show well bringing show spirit to life. I've been a supporter probably since what, 07, 08. I'm showing my age, but I don't care. Definitely people go see the show.
Agreed.
So I guess I'll get started on final thoughts. We'll go into a little rotation. And if you don't mind, maybe we could start with Hannah.
Okay. Oh God, no! Now I'm on the spot.
Oh, sorry.
Final thoughts. Try and avoid manipulators. No, I think I said it a second ago. It it took me a long road and a long time to grow into the self that I wanted to be. And actually, just speaking on growth, I'm not done yet. And I think that's what we have to look at, no matter what relationship, job, station in life. You've just got to keep focusing on that growth and understanding of yourself, because I remember having this conversation with somebody. I do a lot of volunteer work in town, and they said, well, I don't understand the poverty cycle. And I said, it's because they don't know what success looks like. And just like as somebody who's codependent, you may not know what a good relationship looks like. And if you can't imagine it, you don't know if you found it. So that's really my thoughts on it, is growth, education, mentorship, and self-exploration.
Oh, that's beautiful. Let's move on to Monique.
Final thoughts, I guess, is just to love yourself because it starts there first. And I know that gets hard sometimes because we all go through moments where we do not like ourselves, or we don't think that we're worthy, where we sometimes don't even want to be here. And that makes us more susceptible to manipulation. But as a person that has been there before, we are much better here. We are much better with you than we are without you, first of all. And then number two, where the world is much better when you are your authentic self. And you can't be your authentic self if you're allowing other people to manipulate you. And so, it can be a hard thing, but it's, again, like we talked about, a daily process of building that self-worth, building that self-confidence, and loving yourself 24/7, literally all day, every day. Dance naked in your mirror is my favorite thing to do.
I love it.
Yes.
Oh my god. Can we move on to Mo?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's broken up again. I'm so sorry. Gosh
Not
darn
Mo.
technology. Mo's final thoughts was about to be on it too. Aw. How about we move on to Connor, and then maybe Mo can come out and back in and see if it works.
Yeah. Um, I would just say that we've talked about self-love and self-worth, and I think the ultimate goal is to become the best version of you. And in any relationship, your partner is going to support you in becoming that best version of you. I think in a manipulative relationship, it's their idea of the best version of you, whereas in a healthy relationship, it's your version of you. And finding someone who is going to support you become your own version of the best version of you is the ultimate goal. And hopefully, if you're not at that point yet, or if you ship, you can kind of step back, recognize it, and find someone who will fully support you become you and flourish.
Oh, so beautiful. And then let's try Mo again.
Oh, honey, I always go next to last.
Oh, we have your connection now. I can hear you. Run it.
You know what? I want to make the exception because tonight has been a night. Anyway, okay. So final thoughts, people. You gotta learn. Like I said earlier, you gotta learn to love yourselves. Also, secondary, yes, there will always be manipulators because there is a thing that we like to call in Christianity free will. And unfortunately, when people, since 95% of the population has been in some type of trauma or hurt, They have the free will to make a choice to heal and to not do harm unto others, or to hurt other people the way they've been hurt in order to feel something. So, as a person that has been hurt, you have to learn in order to be a healthy citizen in this great country or in the world. You have to learn how to heal. You have to allow to forgive yourself, and as well as forgive others. Because if you don't forgive, unfortunately, it's like taking poison and expecting the other person to get hurt by it. So you're gonna have to forgive yourself. Also, you're gonna have to basically see the signs, because what you're doing activities that is attracting that type of person towards you. For example, being a people pleaser, always saying you're sorry, things of that nature. Those manipulators key in on that and basically do their thing. So also, I want to say I love you guys. This Mercury in retrograde has been kicking my phone's butt, apparently, because my phone was working fine all through backstage, but all of a sudden we broadcasted and she wants to act a fool. I've completely cussed out my phone provider on their automated system, and somehow it magically started back working. So let me wrap this up real quick before I go out again. Definitely check out Sip and Kiki. It is making a comeback. It's coming back, I believe, not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. Also, make sure you check out Geeking Out every other Monday. You might see me back on there. You might. You just might. Because I am a big geek. And thirdly, all donations, no matter how big, no matter how small, make sure you show a little love to my Cash App. That is Mo Smith Pro with the dollar symbol, and that's spelled out for the people that are listening to this on a podcast. MoeSmithPro, and I'm loving the echo because it's giving the extra effect. And I love you guys and love yourselves.
Oh, thank you so much, Mo. It was really nice having you. I don't know where Lamar went, but I'll go in the meantime. I definitely want to say I'm looking at Destiny's final thoughts, and I echo. I also stutter. I've been a victim, and I think recognizing it and kind of accepting and moving forward from it is a major step, because I let it bother me a lot. And I've always been the type of person to like live and let die. Like, I moved on to a lot of things, but that used to take advantage of me. And I think also something I learned today was recognizing in yourself when you might be a manipulator. Like, it might not always come from malicious intent. It might just be an experience what is happening. And I mean, I can accept that sometimes I am not always being the best person I can to somebody else. So moments like those have also, touched my heart. But thank you guys so much for being here. My first time hosting, and I had a lot of fun, and you guys are all awesome. I definitely hope to do this again. But thank you guys for being the greatest panel I could have. But if you guys do want to check me out, you could find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Dre the Shadow. And I also got a Cash App under the same name. Wink, wink. But yeah, I'll just move it on to Lamar before we end things.
I'm going to be brief and echo all the sentiments of everyone here today. It was wonderful. It was needed and cathartic. I will just simply say something that's been imparted onto me from my elders: be good, be safe, and be you. Simple as that.
That "be you" is like echoing in my head right now.
Yes.
That's where I live right now.
You.
Absolutely.
For the sheer value and enjoyment of life, like, just be you. Period.
Just be you. You're the best you there is.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to the show. I do hope to see you guys again soon. All you panelists, again, I want to thank you for being here. And big thanks to Rakia backstage, holding it down, making the show happen. I couldn't do it without her. Bravo.
Yeah.
Nice seeing you, Mo.
Right? I figured might as well. Echo
thank you.
regardless.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for Talk It Out, a place where people of opposing views. Oh, hello.
And talk it out.
Talk it out. I couldn't do it like him. I can't do it like him. But yes, thank you for joining us for Talk It Out, a place where people of opposing views can get together and have a healthy and productive dialogue in a respectful way, keeping in mind that it's not always about proving who's right and who's wrong, but simply about listening. Oh wait, what? Simply about listening and being heard.
Oh Lord.
Damn it! I thought I had it.
It's all right. Bye, y'all.
Peace.